People want to know how to stop the laziness, and they want to know how to stop the procrastination. They have some idea in their head, some kind of a vision of what they want to do, but they don't know where to start. They don't know where to start it, They don't know where to start. And so they say, hey, where do I start? And when's the best time to start? And I have a very simple answer for that. Here and now.
God may be giving you more to work with than what you are working with at this time. You may have far more things that you can potentially do than what you're doing right now. That's why I don't like to hang with low-thinking people, because they'll make you underutilize what God has given you. You need somebody to challenge you that you could be doing more than what you're doing right now. You could have more than you have right now, and somebody's got to be bold enough to look you in the face and empower you to go into the enemy's camp and take back what he stole from you.
For every time you have a plan, a dream, an aspiration, or a goal, do you know what happens every time you have one of those? This thing comes along called life. Life is hard. It happens to everybody. Life has disappointment. It's got peaks and valleys. You're going to lose somebody you care about one day. That's a valley. Somebody going to close the plant you thought was going to stay open so you could retire. That's a valley. Somebody going to fire you for an unjust cause. That's a valley. Because it's life. You can stop thinking that life fitting be easy, because I got news for you, it ain't.
And those problems you think you've got right now, when do problems really become problems? My problem becomes a real problem when I lose my perspective. My problem becomes a real problem when I give up and I just say, forget it. Your problem becomes a real problem when you start feeling sorry for yourself and have a pity party. Your problem becomes a real problem when you get bitter and you start blaming everybody else for your unhappiness. That's the real problem.
Guys and gals, don't give up. Man, if you get to the point where you're kind of weary and you're going, I'm facing struggles at every turn, don't give up.
You just need some faith, man. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible.
But it's hard to let go of what you've been holding on to for so long, even if it's not working anymore. It's really hard to let go. It's like, beg you, see it differently. I beg you to let go. It's not normal. It's just old.
It's time to drop it and move forward. You may be a product of your past, but you don't have to be a prisoner of your past.
Everything that's inflexible and everything that's not ready, everything that's backwards and everything that's negative and everything that's carnal and everything that's holding me back, I refuse to take it over into another year and waste another new year with an old mind. The devil is a lie.
Just because you're used to it doesn't make it normal.
Some of you are taking too much time trying to convince people to love you that do not matter. Tolerating and trying to get people engaged that don't matter, that don't care, that are never ever gonna help you get into your destiny.
I came to preach to somebody who everybody else might have given up on you, and life might not be where you want it to be, and you might not have been what you could have been, but it's not too late to become who you are.
We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. We end up acting in a way far different from the beliefs we've shouted. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us. And more importantly, this leads to a loss of credibility within ourselves. The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all.
So what kind of courage do you have? Is yours sort of floating between depending on the situation? Or do you know the difference between right and wrong for your life? And you've made up your mind. Our mind is the control tower of our life. All of our decisions are there. And the truth is, whatever we are today is the result of what we've been thinking about all those years. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you don't like what's going on around you, maybe you should ask yourself the question, what am I thinking about? What do I think about myself? What do I think about other people? What we think about is really what controls us. This is the control tower, that everything else is a result of how we think. And we can't control everybody else in control of all of our circumstances, but we are going to respond to circumstances in one way or the other. And so what you have to ask is this: what is it that determines what I think? This mind of yours controls everything else in your life.
Are you satisfied with your life as it is? Are you? Is your life giving you what you want? If you had your life to live over again, could you have done more than what you've done thus far? When I ask audiences that, most people agree, yes, I could have done more. I know I could have done more. I've wasted a lot of valuable time. You're going to lose something, lose money. You can recapture that. Don't lose time. You can't get that back.
But I think being grateful probably is number one. If you've got a job, you got to be grateful. See, this isn't the greatest job in the world. Even if it's a transitional job getting you where you want to go, you got to be grateful. You don't have to love your job or be passionate about your job. Just passionate about staying steady, working hard, learning skills, doing this job so well that the next one will be even better, and taking such good care of this opportunity, another one will present itself.
What's next for me? After all of this, I don't think that things just happen. I believe that they happen just. We have a mindset. We don't want to be the same coming out of this. That you want some radical change. That this could be a major defining moment for you. A day that turns your life around.
If you have an extreme desire to wish to be successful, so you can accomplish all you wish to accomplish, be as generous as you'd like to be as strong as you'd like to be. And I think if you say you have to find your passion, people find that a little bit confusing. Where would I find it, and what could I be passionate about? I guess you could start with saying, I'm passionate about providing unusual success for myself and for my family. Then I think the key is to let what you want to accomplish, let that grow. Where at first this is as far as you can see, but if you'll do that, you could say, wow, maybe I could multiply by 2, by 3, and expand my vision, accomplish a lot more.
Every single time I hear about an issue, every single time I hear another story of pain, every single time I see a seemingly impossible situation, I smile wryly because I know by the grace of God and by His power, I have a testimony. Come on, it is never too late.
Kiss that wrong self-image goodbye. Victory starts in your thinking. Abundance, it starts in our mind. You can't think the same way and expect different results. Start embracing who God says you are.
I want to tell you something today. The moment you make up your mind to get up, you can get up. And no devil in hell, no government, no power, no boss, or anything else can hold you. Once you are free in your mind, you are free.
See, many things we don't do because of the fact we want people to like us. There's some necessary losses in life. When you decide acting in your best interest, you're going to lose some friends. Everybody's not going to approve of you. There's some people that won't like you. Who do you think you are? You're arrogant. What do you think you can do? You're selfish. Thanks, I got that.
poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. The mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. As you think, so you become.
Program your mind, because all that you will do or not do, have or not have, accomplish or not accomplish, will be a direct derivative of what's going on inside of your mind. So if you don't get clear thinking on an issue, you won't be able to develop in that area. Look at somebody say it's time for a change. Well, what stops us? What stops us from making the changes that we need in our behavior, in our situation? It's the mind.
If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. It don't matter what your mama think. It don't matter what your coworkers think. It don't matter what your siblings think. It don't matter. This decision is yours and yours alone.
But what we want to do is overcome the emotion, because that's just what's lasting from the event. So you sit a person down, and the moment you sit him down, what do you think the body's going to do? It's going to look for something to recreate that emotion, because that's the person's identity. Are you with me still? Yes. So if I make the person, if I inspire the person to sit there, and they're sitting there, and all of a sudden they're noticing that they're hot, and they're irritated, and their stomach is twisting, and all of a sudden it's a group of sensations, a group of feelings that they have called all along frustration. But the different sensations, the moment you name it, it becomes an emotion. But what it is just bodily sensations. It's energy that's stuck in the body. So the body is looking to go back to the past. It's believing it's in the past. Are you with me still? So if the person becomes aware that their body is doing that, and like training an animal, allow the body to feel that emotion and then settle it down into the present moment. When you settle it down into the present moment, the body starts to trust the present moment and move out of the past. And there's a release of energy. Then the body goes, well, wait a second, what's going to happen in the next moment? And it starts doing that. And it starts to try and anticipate the future. And you settle the body back down into the present moment. And every time you do that, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind. That you're the mind, and your will is getting greater than the program, and all of a sudden you start to lower the volume to that emotion. And when you begin to break the addiction to that emotion, the side effect of breaking that addiction is called joy. It's called freedom. All of a sudden the body's saying, I don't want to be tormented anymore. Now, does that mean you shouldn't grieve over things that you lose? Grieving is a biological process. It's neural pruning. It's a death of circuitry. It's a death of emotions. It's the absence, a void of something in your life. And that's important, but in grief, sooner or later, you got to come to a greater understanding about death, a greater understanding about loss, a greater understanding so that you can adapt to those conditions. Every time I sit with someone and they start complaining about their life, and I let them go for a few minutes, and then I go, oh! You know what I say to them? You only complain about your life when it's not working. And the emotion that you're feeling right now is keeping you connected to the past. You never do this when your life is working. And so I don't have a problem with moving through the stages of emotions. But I also know that what a person really wants more than anything else is to be free. People want to be free. And I have witnessed transformation on every culture, on every skin color, every shape, every size, every age. I've witnessed it. And the same radiance that takes place in a person's face, a light behind their eyes, a different physical presentation of their face is eminent, it's real. And that person has worked to overcome themselves. And so it's not that we shouldn't feel emotions. We should feel those emotions and feel them completely. And like a child, get over it though.
And people these days, they say, oh, you gotta let your emotions out. You gotta let your emotions out. If you gotta cry. And I understand where that's coming from. And you can get to a point as a person, if there's something that's really traumatic that's happening and all you do is hold it in, and I've seen guys get destroyed over that because they're not expressing the emotions that they have. But that's at a big level, right? At a daily level, no. You don't express those things. You keep them inside. That's why I say it like that. Like I'm being kind of sarcastic, but at the same time I'm being serious.
Yeah.
You know, it's just don't let your emotions out and into the world.
Yeah.
Keep them for yourself. Own them.
Yeah.
Keep them for yourself. Don't share them with other people if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Now, again, people are going to freak out that I'm saying this because bury your emotions. Because that what happens when you when you've got something really traumatic that you bury, then it eats you apart. And I've talked about that. I mean, talking about things that you go through in life and expressing those feelings that you have about them, that's good. Mm-hmm. But what we're talking about is not that. What we're talking about is daily emotions, little ups and downs, little tick marks on your Richter scale. We're not talking about an 8.8 on the Richter scale, right? We're talking about just like little twos.
Yeah.
And when you express those 2s and 3s on the Richter scale out to people, you just look unstable. It's a great point that oftentimes expressing your emotions to the world doesn't improve your situation or your position at all.
Correct.
In fact, I would say that most of the time, expressing your emotions to the world sets you back. And that is why I vote in many cases to stifle your emotions. Keep them in.
Yeah.
Don't let other people see. You put your cards on the table, right? You put your emotional cards on the table. Now you can't gamble anymore. You're not in the game anymore. The person knows what's going on. That you're giving it to them. You're not going to know what I'm thinking. You're going to think everything's cool with me. We're training jiu-jitsu, right? If I'm getting frustrated and I show that to you, what does that do? You're getting, all of a sudden, you just go level up. You think, oh, I got him. He's frustrated right now. He can't. Oh, I'm working. This is working against him. If I'm just saying the same face all the time, which is what I do primarily, hey, same face all the time. Just, moving the same way. When you do get me, I forget what you say. When you get me to react to something good.
Recognize the urgency.
Yeah, you say, oh, I recognize a little urgency there. And I always go, damn. I don't want him to recognize. I'd rather just have you just pass my guard and you're just there and me just sit there like it's no big deal because it's not. Then me get all panicky.
Yeah.
Where then you level up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with life, right?
Yep.
Every time you express these big emotions to your boss or to your team, you express these big emotions to your team, they see all your cards. Don't let them see all your cards. Is this manipulating? Kind of. Right? This is one of those things where people think, oh, transparency. We hear that all the time these days. Transparency. You got to be transparent. No, actually you don't.
Yeah, not with that.
You don't have to be transparent all the time.
Yeah.
You have to win the game. You know what? Does the football coach go out and hand his playbook to the other football team? No. He's got to win the game.
Yeah, typically no.
And that's not how you win the game. So are we, you know what we're doing? We're playing chess. It's emotional chess. You're playing with other human beings. You want to win. Now, if you're winning so that I can take advantage of you, so I can manipulate you and get something from you that you don't want to give me, that's bad. And I'm not talking about doing that. But if what I'm doing is keeping my calm so that instead of escalating an argument with you, I'm getting you to see it from my perspective just by remaining calm, that's what we're talking about here.
And what is an emotion? And again, like a thought, is an energy entity an emotion too is an entity that is an energy form. You cannot see it, but you can only see how it manifests in the external world. But an emotion is an energy form that lives in you. It's a little entity. And if you recognize it, then there's an awareness there. Without awareness, often you can easily be run by your emotions. And that means the emotion, whether it be, let's say it could be anger, it could be sadness, could be anxiety, whatever it may be, deep regret, jealousy, envy, whatever it is, the emotion, this energy invades, which at first you might feel in the body, it then rises up into your mind, and then it controls your thinking. So when you feel deeply negative, then or angry, then the emotion rises into your mind, and every thought reflects the emotion that you feel, because the emotion is thinking through you. And the emotion is feeding on your thoughts. So the loop happens, the vicious circle. The emotion creates thought, and the thought amplifies the emotion. So in the case of anger, you get more and more angry. The more you think about it, the more angry you get. Until finally you lash out, completely lost. And of course, if it's a child also experiences that. Sometimes some children have temper tantrums, and or they may other very violent emotions. Some children have learned that the only way they can get attention from their parents is by displaying violent emotions, because otherwise parents don't give them attention. So a child would say, as you know, if you're probably aware of the term I use, pain body. Pain body is the term I use for an accumulation of old emotion that still lives in you. It's unrecognized as emotion. It lives in you as an entity. It's an accumulation of negative emotion, or often goes back to early childhood. An accumulation of negative emotion that hasn't left you, that dwells in your body somewhere. And I call it the pain body. And it's helpful to look at it as a little entity almost, an entity that lives in you, a gremlin.
You have a space that belongs only to you. It's your thoughts, your attitude, your emotions. It's who you spend time with, what you watch and listen to. That's your atmosphere. That's what you have control over. And the reason some people live worried, offended, negative, is because they let everything in. They listen to the news all day. They dwell on the medical report. They go to lunch with people that are critical. Somebody cuts them off in traffic. That sours the rest of the morning. The problem is they're not ruling their atmosphere. You have to be careful what you allow in. You can't stop everything from coming, but you can stop it from getting down in your spirit. You need to keep your atmosphere full of faith, full of praise, full of hope, full of victory. Anything that tries to poison that atmosphere, it's up to you to say, no thanks, you're not welcome here. Somebody leaves you out at work. They don't invite you to the meeting. The offense will come, saying be angry, be bitter. That's not right. You can let that offense in and live upset, or you can say, sorry offense, you're not welcome here. Sorry bitterness, there's no place for you. I'm going to stay in peace. I'm going to enjoy this day. You don't have control over what people do, but you do have control over your thoughts, your attitude, how you respond. Proverbs says, a person that doesn't rule his spirit is like a city with broken down walls. In Bible days, the walls were what protected the city. If the walls were down, then anyone could get in. The opposition would come and take the city. In the same way, if you don't keep some walls up around your spirit, if you don't rule your atmosphere, put some boundaries, then everything's going to get in. Your child is off course. Instead of trusting that God has him in the palm of his hand, worry will get in. You can't sleep at night. Your business slows down. You lost a client. Instead of knowing that God is your source, that he's going to provide, the stress will come, the anxiety, what am I going to do? Or maybe someone is talking about you, trying to make you look bad. Instead of letting God fight your battles, you let the offense in. You live defensive, trying to prove to them that you're okay, wasting valuable time on something that doesn't matter. You don't need their approval. God has already approved you. Now keep your walls up. Quit allowing all that into your spirit. Your time is too valuable. Your assignment too important to let everything in. Be selective. If it's not positive, hopeful, of a good report, then don't dwell on it. You can't control the whole world, but you can control your atmosphere. And the scripture says that God has made you to be a king, that you are to reign in life. Negative things will come, but you have to remember you're the ruler. You have the authority to decide what you allow in. Am I going to dwell on this offense? Am I going to hang around this person that's pulling me down? Am I going to stay focused on this bad break, live in self-pity? It's up to you. You rule over your kingdom. When we turn on the news these days, there's so much negative. We hear about how bad the pandemic is, the divisiveness in politics, the unrest in our society. If you allow that division to get in you, the disrespect, the anger, it's going to pollute your thoughts, steal your joy, make you sour. You have to be proactive. What are you watching? What are you listening to? Is it building you up, making you more positive, more hopeful? Or is it tearing you down, stressing you out, making you angry, upset? You don't need that in your atmosphere. Life is hard enough without adding all these negative things that make it more difficult. A man told me how he drove to work every day for an hour listening to talk radio. It was about news and politics. People would get on, argue and debate. He would get so riled up, so upset. By the time he got to work, he was angry, on edge. He said, Joel, I didn't like who I had become. Nobody wanted to be around me. I was so hard to get along with. One day he accidentally came across our Sirius XM station. He started listening. Instead of putting all the negative in, hours a day, that was contaminating him, he started putting in something uplifting. Words of faith, hope, and victory. He said, I'm a different person now. I'm positive. I'm grateful. I look forward to work. I enjoy the people. His co-worker even asked him what happened to him, why he was so much happier and so much more friendly. It was because he got rid of the poison in his atmosphere. I like to watch the news. It's good to stay informed, but you can't listen to the news for hours a day and stay in faith. You can't take that into your spirit and have the energy, the focus, the creativity to be your best. Well, Joel, I wish God would help me to do better. God has done his part. He made you a king. He's given you the authority. You have the power to rule your atmosphere. You can't control all that's around you, but you can control what gets in you. Are your walls up? Are you ruling your spirit? It's important who you're spending time with. Evaluate your friendships. Are they making you better? Inspiring you, challenging you to go further? Or are they pulling you down, causing you to compromise, bringing out the worst in you. That's contaminating your atmosphere. You're going to become like the people you hang around. If your friends don't have what you want, if they're not going places, if they don't have a good attitude, they're not faithful, trustworthy, then you need to make a change. Life is short. You don't have time to waste with people that are not adding to your life. And yes, we need to help others come up higher, but you need a few friends that will help you come up higher. And this is one of the main things that holds people back. If you will change who you're spending time with, your life will go to a new level. You shouldn't go to lunch with people at the office that are jealous, talk about the boss, complain about the company. Spirits are transferable. If you hang around jealous people, you're going to become jealous. If you hang around unfaithful people, you're going to become unfaithful. The scripture says, don't sit inactive in the path of the ungodly. That means don't be passive when it comes to people polluting your life. Well, Joel, I've been friends with them for years. If I don't eat lunch with them, they may get their feelings hurt. What if you miss your destiny? What if they keep you from the awesome future that God has in store? Don't sit inactive and let them poison your atmosphere. Your ears are not garbage cans to hear gossip. You weren't created to take in the latest rumors. I can't believe what they did. You have greatness in you. God has called you to leave your mark, to take your family to a new level. Don't waste your valuable time on petty things with small-minded people that are not moving you forward. The less time you spend with some people, the better off you're going to be. Some people are dream stealers. They'll tell you all the reasons you can't accomplish your goals, why you can't get well, how you'll never break the addiction. You don't need that poison in your atmosphere. Don't sit inactive with people that don't believe in you, people that don't come into agreement with your dream. If you'll do your part, control what you can control. Rule your atmosphere, your thoughts, your attitudes, then God will do His part. He'll make things happen that you couldn't make happen. There's a restaurant chain that has a motto that says, rule the day. They encourage you to eat the right foods and take the right vitamins so you can have a healthy day. I like that phrase, rule the day. When you get up in the morning, make the decision, I'm going to rule my thoughts today. Not just going to think whatever comes to mind. I'm going to think on purpose, thoughts that are positive, hopeful, encouraging. I'm going to rule who I spend time with today. Not just anyone. I'm going to be selective. I'm going to associate with eagles. I'm going to rule my attitude today. I'm going to see the best. I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to stay in peace. And I'm going to rule my emotions today. I'm going to forgive the wrongs. I'm going to overlook insults. I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. It's important to make this decision ahead of time, before you leave the house, that nothing that happens is going to upset you. You're going to stay in peace. Then when difficulties come, traffic is bad, your boss is rude, your child has a problem, you've already decided you're going to rule the day. You have your walls up. You're not going to live upset. We should go out each day expecting the best, but knowing that everything may not be perfect. There may be delays, interruptions, people that are hard to deal with. Don't let that ruin the day, rule the day. Keep the negative out of your atmosphere. God is directing your steps. Whatever happens is not a surprise to Him. He's given you the power to remain calm in times of adversity. It doesn't say the power to avoid adversity, to not have challenges, to have a perfect day. The fact is, every day can be a good day if you rule your atmosphere. David had a good day while Saul was chasing him. I had a good day at the beach when that company filed a lawsuit. Quit waiting for all the circumstances to be perfect. You can have a good day in the middle of a pandemic. You can have a good day even though you have challenges at work, even though you're dealing with an illness, even though some people don't like you. Stay calm, stay in faith, and rule the day. Make the decision like David. This is the day the Lord has made. I'm going to live it in faith. I'm going to be happy today. I'm going to be good to others. I'm going to make the most of this day. I called to order a pizza one night. I have done this for many years. The first thing they always ask for is your phone number. A young lady answered the phone. I said very politely, hello, and I started to give her my number. You would have thought I had just committed a major crime. She practically screamed in my ear, sir, I am not ready for your phone number. When I want your phone number, I will ask for your phone number. Somehow, at that point, I didn't feel like a pastor. I felt some other things rising up. I had to make a decision. Am I going to rule my atmosphere? Or am I going to let her poison my atmosphere? Am I going to keep my walls up? Or am I going to be offended? People are always trying to bring their atmosphere into your atmosphere. People that are hurting, that have issues, dealing with things, they will try to put their poison on you. They're not bad people, they're just hurting. And the mistake we make too often is we take the bait. We let the offense in, we get upset, do to them what they did to us. But you don't overcome evil with more evil. You overcome evil with good. I thought to myself, I've already made the decision that I'm going to stay in peace today. I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to rule this day.
You know, if you study people who are at the pinnacle of anything, you recognize that to get there, motivation was maybe 1% of the formula. Maybe. 1%. And I'll prove it to you. If you want to become a world-class bodybuilder, say an IFBB pro, what that takes is you have to train twice a day, 6 days a week. You have to have 8 meals a day. Your calorie intake is regimented. Your meals are pre-planned and pre-cooked. You don't eat according to taste, you eat according to function. So my trainer, for instance, will eat and I'm going, what are you eating? And he's having he'll have chicken that was boiled without salt. And he'll have like half a kilo of it. And what are you doing? He says, I'm taking in protein. He doesn't say I'm eating. He says, I'm taking in protein. For him, it's functional. It's not taste-based. Then you will probably have to train for a minimum. And this is if you are a genetic phenom. You'd have to train for a minimum of 10 years before you could get on a stage and compete at an average level with an average global bodybuilder. Average. Okay. So why am I telling you this? All of us here at the beginning of a new year write these things called New Year's resolutions. And then New Year's resolutions, number 1, make more money. Yeah? Number 2, change my boyfriend. Number 3, get into shape. Yeah? Number 3, get into shape is somewhere in the top 3. So what do? You go to the gym, you get a gym membership. Yeah? You go to the local Nike store and you buy like all of your gym gear. You are motivated. You are inspired. You are going to the damn gym. You go to YouTube, you subscribe to all of the fitness channels. You go to your Instagram, you follow all of the fitness models. You are motivated. You are going to the damn gym. You're going to get in shape. That's what you're going to do. The people you're following on YouTube have been working on for a minimum of 5 years to look like that. So you have the incorrect understanding that after a month of working out, you're going to look like them. So what happens in the first month? You're excited. You go to gym every single month. And you take the pains and your body is sore, but I'm excited. I'm going to gym. Then life happens. Company doesn't make money. You don't make your targets. You fall a bit ill. Something happens. And all of a sudden you stop going to gym for a day. A day becomes 2, 2 becomes a week. Now all of a sudden you've had a gym membership for 3 months and you haven't been in that time. What did you miss? You thought motivation was the formula. Winners don't need motivation. Winners need discipline. Discipline's about getting it done because it needs to get done, not because I feel like it, not because I'm motivated for it. You think Nelson Mandela was motivated to spend 27 years in prison? You think Martin Luther King was motivated to march across the states and proclaim freedom? You think, if you look at people that change the world, they're not doing it because they're motivated. They're doing it because they made a commitment to do it and they disciplined to see it through. Discipline is far more important than motivation, which is why you got to be careful the decisions you make. Because once you make the decision, you have to see that decision through. Like my mentor says, first we make the decisions, then the decisions make us. So you got to be very careful the decisions you make. Be very careful the commitments you make. Motivation, I'm telling you now, is completely overrated. It's important. Don't get me wrong. We meet according to motivation. We feel good, rah-rah. But that'll fade. You need a stronger will and a deeper commitment to see things through.
One of my key phrases for the whole day: disciplines work miracles. Disciplines work miracles.
And I believe collectively as a group, we're going to kick the competition's butt because we understand how important it is to think, execute, and dominate. Suck it up. Get tough. Suck it up. Get tough. People want to have success. People want to make a lot of money, but they want it to be easy without any challenges. Do you think it was easy for me to become one of the top 450 basketball players in the world that you never heard of? The only way I made it to the NBA is I was fundamentally sound, I was mentally tough, and I never quit. And even when I wanted to quit, I had people in my life that would make sure I didn't quit. I hired and set out the top 10 motivational speakers, watched all their videos, and I watched them one by one because I understand that if I pay attention to what the best are doing, I could be the best too. I watched game film on Michael Jordan. No matter how much I watched, I couldn't do what Michael Jordan could do. I would watch Magic Johnson. I couldn't do what Magic Johnson would do, but I sat there and had these videos. I watched Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, but my wife was scared. I was scared. I called into my office and I said what husbands say. I said, babe, we're going to be okay. Every month the checking account was dwindling. I said, babe, we're going to be okay. Let's start a motivational speaking business. I go to Jerry Sloan and I say, Jerry, I'm trying to make your team, but since we don't scrimmage, I feel like I can't show you what I can do. Go to Corral, hear me clearly, listen to his answer, and it will unlock some mysteries as to how you become the best in the world at what you do over a long period of time. Jerry, I'm trying to make your team, but I feel like I can't show you what I can do. He says, Walter, I already know what you can do. But if you want to make my team, I suggest you listen, follow directions, and execute. Listen, follow directions, and execute. What I didn't realize, even though we didn't scrimmage in practice, throughout practice, we did drills, and he created what I call habits and rituals. Every single day, practice was the same. Every single day, we drilled on fundamentals. Every single day, we worked on the habits and rituals. So even though my mind was floating, even though I was selfish and self-centered, he was conditioning me into the culture through practice of habits and rituals. The reason why I tripled my NBA income in 3 years is because of habits and rituals. Next year, if your name didn't get called to come across the stage, I'm here to tell you they will call your name next year if you go back home and execute habits and rituals. I wanted to scrimmage for me, but Jerry Sloan was getting me ready to play for the Utah Jazz. So every day it was about habits and rituals. Having hot food is about habits and rituals. Great customer service is about habits and rituals. Being the best in the world at what you do, being a pro, is all about habits.
The heart of a champion. What does it take to really truly be a champion? Well, it takes more than excuses. It takes more than just giving yourself a pass. There are only so many champions in the world. And true champions understand what dedication and hard work really is. True champions understand if you're going to be a lion, you got to know what it means to go through the jungle. You can't pretend or fake it just to make it, to be a champion. When everybody else is sleeping, the champion is the one that wakes up The champion gets up before the sun comes up. The champion is the one that never lets the sun catch them sleeping. There will become a time when you have to realize that you got to put in the work, and you got to understand that if you're going to do it, you better do it with the right attitude. Because attitude is what's going to take to get you to the level that you need to be and beyond it. Champions don't just come overnight. Champions have to grow. Champions have to work. Champions have to dig. Champions have to believe. Champions don't have time to wait around for something to happen on its own. Being a champion takes work, grit, and understanding that if you're trying to be better than the opponent, you got to work a little bit harder than the person that you up against.
You must build a mindset for success. A mindset that can endure pain and struggle, because it will come. Your mindset will make or break you.
A champion has to make significant sacrifices. A champion has to be disciplined. A champion has to be hungry. You got to dedicate everything about you.
Train like a champion.
Champions understand that discipline is always the key.
There is no winning in excuses. There are no victories and giving up. You got to understand within you is greatness. Within you is something that is waiting to be awakened. You are the one that is responsible for this work that must be done. Everyone wants to be great at something, but wanting it and doing something about it and ultimately needing it is going to take work. It's going to take dedication, because procrastination is the assassination of your motivation that would ultimately lead you to your destination. Make sure you understand that you're going to have to put something in it to get something out. A champion does not worry. It doesn't concern themselves about challenges that they have to face. They realize that they have to put in work. They realize that every opponent that they face is an opportunity to go a little farther up that ladder. You're not worthy to be a champion if you don't apply yourself to be one. You're not worthy to hold on to a title if you don't have the integrity and the understanding and the grit and what you need to do to maintain what it means to be a champion.